Hello, in this video we will talk about quality and how testing in a team can help us to improve this quality. First of all, let's take a look on our plan for this video. We will talk about quality, what is quality and how can we measure it. Also, how can the quality affect the speed of development and the product at all. Also, we will talk about quality in teamwork, how we can improve it, and some tools which helps us to work with quality, such as testing pyramid and the ideal testing timeline during a sprint. And we'll talk about collaboration between testers and developers who can help each other. So, what is a quality? Quality, it sounds obvious, but it's too general and difficult to describe in details. What does it mean? We can describe a quality as a value for business. A good quality product brings a bigger value and bigger income for business. It's much more money. Another point is user satisfaction. High quality products bring satisfaction for users to use this software, and it improve collaboration with customer and this product. Also, it means that there are fewer user complaints, so they are more satisfied and they report less bugs, they are happy to work and use your product, and it means your product has a high quality. How can we measure the quality? There are a few attributes for measuring, and the first one is usability. How easy is to use your product, how it's obvious, and how it helps your customers. The next one is performance. It's very important how speed and how fast is your software, for example, or your product. Because right now, as we know, speed is very important, and in case your product works slow, nobody wants to use it because time is money. The next one is availability. How easy is to use it, and is all customers can use it. Does it require some additional time to understand how your product works, or you can just take it and start working? The next one is important security. Right now in our time we eager to save our data privacy, and do not want to share it. Security is one of most priority attributes of code quality and the quality of product at all. And there are a lot of additional different attributes. How can we measure a product quality? First of all, we can measure a number of defects or bugs we missed during development, and these bugs were found on production and reported by users. So in case we have a lot of bugs, it means that we need to update our testing approach and find out what we can change to decrease the number of bugs in production. What is important is that we can't measure different products from different domains. They are different. What we can do, we can compare the same our product over time. For example, if we made a release and after this release we found that number of bugs were increased, that it means we did something wrong and we need to provide some root cause analysis and find out what was wrong and improve it or fix it. Let's imagine that in the previous sprint we were pushed by our customer or product managers that we need to deploy something faster, and we skipped writing unit tests, or we skipped creating some another tests, and product wasn't tested as it should be tested, and as a result, after deploying to production, we got a bigger number of errors. It means that we need to fix unit tests, we need to double test everything and push updated changes. There is a metric, defect containment effectiveness, which measures the quality of testing itself, not quality of product, but quality of testing. Usually it's a ratio of defects found internally to all found defects, including production defects. So the target of this value should be 95% at least. How can we describe quality at speed? So first of all, identify defects early. As early we will find defect, then it will cost less and it won't affect users in production, and we will improve our quality and improve user satisfaction. The next one, what is important, is find the important defects. Defects are different. One huge blocker in production is more important than 5 smaller defects which do not affect users directly. In the first place, try to fix the most important bugs. We can't find and fix all bugs, but we don't need wasted time, and testers, QA, they can't wait while all features will be implemented. So as we implemented the first feature, testers can start testing it and then continue with deploying new features. Do not wait when the whole product will be finished and then start testing. How can we reach this goal? To reach it, we need to use clever, proactive technique approach. We need to be proactive and analyze risks and problems which can affect us, even if it's not our responsibilities. We can improve and deliver code with a big number of unit tests, which covers a lot of tricky aspects and places of our product. We need to collaborate with developers to set up coding practices. We need to communicate with business analysts to clarify and provide business requirements in advance. Each defect is a waste, each missed defect is a problem. Based on information from bugs, we can improve our product quality even without wasting additional time. Based on bug and issues statistics, we can define the most buggy configuration and know what places should be double checked and where we need to take a look deeply to understand how we can improve our code quality. Debugging under the most popular configuration, it means that sometimes we can find out that we have no bugs in Chrome or Firefox browsers, but the same features doesn't work as well as we expected in the Safari browser. It means that we do not need to develop new features in Chrome, we need to fix the issues in Safari browser. Requirements is the biggest problem and pain of all projects. It's very difficult to know everything what should be done and do not miss any pieces of requirements what should be implemented. We can clarify requirements in advance, find all tricky places, communicate with developers and testers and find out what should be improved, what can be improved, and what places should be tested. It can help us to prevent developing features which do not bring a value for users. The next one, what's important, is to cover complex areas with tests. It might be unit test or automated test. During development, we know what places are the most important and can dramatically affect users. These critical areas should be tested with unit tests created by developers and automated tests. It doesn't work as effective, you can refactor it and improve these places of code. Another approach how you can improve quality is using production data. You can use data from production to analyze what was wrong and when it can be fixed. Different logger systems can help us to find out which parts of our application are used most frequently and do we have some bugs, errors or warnings in these places of code, and then analyze them and improve if it's needed. Quality in a teamwork. What we need is requirement analysis. During a sprint we have a couple of very important meetings such as sprint grooming and sprint planning. On sprint grooming we can analyze the task, what we need to implement, ask questions about parts we do not understand, how it should be implemented, why it should be implemented, and maybe there are some tricky parts or we have some blockers and we can't start doing this task. And the sprint planning helps us to understand which tasks should be implemented, how they should be implemented, and can be implemented during the sprint. Another part is risk analysis. Do we have some risks in developing this task? What can be done wrong? Or do we have some problems during development? Also, continuous integration and continuous delivery pipeline. Do you have such pipeline on the project? If not, we can communicate with the team of developers and the QAs. We can define what pipeline steps should be added, which tests or another steps we can add to this pipeline. It's an important step during the process of improving quality. Another option is a testing pyramid, which covers of different types of tests. Let's take a look on this pyramid. We have 3 layers. It's unit tests, service tests and user interface test. During the regular testing pyramid, the biggest number of tests is unit tests. Why? Unit tests are more stable, cheaper, faster than other tests. These tests are written once and will be automatically run after each merge request. Also, unit tests help us to create code more testable and stable. It means when you create a unit test for your code, you try to write your code more testable and much more easier in supporting and maintaining. The next layer is API layer and user interface layer. Usually the number of these tests are smaller because it takes a lot of time for developing and supporting. Also, these tests can be run on each merge request or merging into the main branch. We can run the tests, for example, service test when we deployed new functionality, and user interface test can be run once a day or once a week. Usually it can be run nightly when nobody is working on the project. So who creates these tests? Usually unit tests are created by developers. It's because of they creating main functionality, they know how it works, and it's easy to add unit tests. Also, they can communicate with QAs and get all test cases which should be covered. API and UI tests usually are written by automation testers, but sometimes they're created by developers. On one of my projects, I was a developer and created UI tests. It was one of the practice of this project. How do we test a product during a sprint? So usually after planning we start development, and during the development we deliver features, or we are closing tasks with some functionality. And testing, it starts in the same time. Testers start their work during development. Even right now we have any software which can be tested, but testers can create some requirements, documentation, or test cases which should be covered, and then when we deliver the first package of functionality, they can start testing this functionality. After we finish delivering features during a sprint, testers need some additional time to test the latest feature we delivered, and then they can finish testing during a sprint. So how can testers help developers in development? Testers can start creating automated tests even before code delivery. It means that when we have requirements, they can start do tests based on these requirements, and then we will implement functionality which should be tested by these automated tests. Important part is sharing checklist in advance. Developers have some test cases which should be tested based on requirements, and developers and QAs can discuss what should be implemented, how it should be implemented, and then the product will be implemented based on this checklist and requirements. Sometimes they can review unit tests to provide is everything what should be implemented was implemented in this software. Sometimes for development we need some data which should be generated for specific cases, and testers or QA can help us to provide this specific data. Another part is defining buggy components and configuration. Developers can't know everything about the product, how it works in all cases. In this case, testers can provide some buggy components and configuration where we need to spend additional time to do it better. How can developers help testers? The most important feature is deliver code frequently. You finish some feature, deliver it, and testers will test it, was everything implemented as we expect. The next one is develop some mocks. It can be mock responses from the server or something else. Developers can add unique control IDs to the product, for example BDD tags or some another tags in the code. We can extend the logs to provide additional information and data to testers, and test data generation. Developers can provide information about impact of code changes based on the requirements, what should be added or changed. We can provide information how long it will take to implement new functionality or implement these changes. To recap, Collaboration between developers and testers can help us to improve our code quality and as a result improve our product, which brings a bigger value to business. So there are different tools and techniques we can follow to improve code quality, such as unit tests, testing pyramid, and using effectively time during a sprint.